Hello again, everyone. This is Ryan Osgard with Higher Ground Consulting, coming to you live from the offices of Higher Ground downtown on Main Avenue. And today, what I want to talk about is trauma. I almost wish I had like a timpani in the background, the dun 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 trauma, but commonly trauma these days is referred to as PTSD. It's become a real buzzword, obviously, because of all the military action that's been taking place around the world for the last several years. A lot of our troops coming home, veterans experiencing it, and we hear some pretty horrific things that happen, and just a lot of the struggles and suffering that people are going through. Something to keep in mind is that PTSD is not just a buzzword for veterans or those that have seen military conflict and been exposed to that level of violence on the field of combat. It's also something that people experience every day. Most people experience multiple traumas during their life in one fashion or another. Some are, as we think about them as a society, certainly bigger than others, in the sense of, for example, if a person is raped, or you're in a massive car accident of some type. These are those really horrific, traumatic events that happen to us that definitely leave a mark on us. That being said, trauma is really in the eye of the beholder. There is no comparing trauma. There are times where people might say, well, I experienced the trauma of a minor car accident, or what might be considered to be a minor car accident. And they might look at it as, how could I be experiencing PTSD or trauma in that way compared to somebody who comes back from Iraq or Afghanistan that's seen combat? Well, you are experiencing it. If you experience it, you experience it. It is part of the human condition. And again, you could be impacted by it very differently from somebody else. That doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make the other person strong or anything like that. This isn't about right or wrong, good, bad, strong or weakness. It's about what's going on and what's happening, and how do you face that, and what do you do with it. So at the heart of trauma, at the really core part of it, comes down to a certain issue of avoidance, as I see it. And yet people experience symptoms in a lot of different ways. I mean, you could have panic attacks. There are triggers all around us in terms of sound, sight, smells that can bring us back to the traumatic event that occurs. Disassociation is a big one that people experience, where you just, you might look at a clock, it says, 2 o'clock, and you kind of blank out like a daydream, and come back and look at the clock, and it might seem a few minutes, but it could be 3 hours later. So there's a wide range of symptoms that can happen. But in terms of the treatment of it, underlying it is avoidance. It's part of the defense mechanism that our mind puts in place to protect itself. And again, a lot of the symptoms that we experience, and a lot of things that we do behaviorally in our thought process, even our emotional ups and downs and so forth, are all ways to kind of protect ourselves from dealing with that trauma that occurred. And so you have this avoidance, denial type of thing that happens. And I work with clients that have had that, certainly, where they can certainly acknowledge the fact that they're having panic attacks or phobias or depression or a lot of other things. But once you get into dealing with the trauma that occurred, they're like, no, that has nothing to do with this. Because your mind can't go there. It's very hard to wrap your head around what happened and be willing to face that again. But ultimately, you're not going to get through trauma, PTSD, on your own. I've not experienced where that happens. There could be ebbs and flows in terms of the symptoms and in terms of functioning, but it's there. And it's something that, in order to, I think, function healthy or in a healthy way and move forward in life, again, not forgetting what happened, but learning how to live with what's happened, does require help. Medication can be very helpful in these situations to deal with some of the side effects and what's going on, but that doesn't change anything in terms of the experience that's going on in our mind and what the core of that is. So Now, if you're somebody that is experiencing trauma, or you know something's going on and you can't put your finger on it, it could be a trauma related issue, and that's something that is good to go and talk to somebody about. I'm more than willing to help you do that. If you're a family member or friend of somebody that you know has been through a traumatic event and you see some of these symptoms going on, you know, it might be something to put out there to try to help them get help. And again, if I can be of help with that, to provide further information or help you point you in the right direction, you know, whatever, by all means, please give me a call. Look at my website, highergroundconsultant.com. Message me on Facebook, whatever, and I'm happy to help to, you know, hopefully get that you or that person that you know of help in that way. So the tagline I'm going to use at the end of this is saying, when life's floods overwhelm you, head for higher ground. Give me feedback on that. What do you think about that one? I appreciate the feedback. Y'all have a great day, and we'll, you know, hope you tune in the next time around. Thank you again for tuning into this one.